I've been pregnant 12 times. And I've had to start doing something I wish happened a lot earlier, and that is looking back at my entire medical history and not just isolated symptoms. I have 5 children, my last were twin, and I've had 8 losses. What I find hard looking back is that no one stopped and asked why. I'm now finding my own specialists, people that work with chronic illnesses, connective tissue disorders, hormone sensitivities, and nervous system conditions. And when I look back, the signs were always there. I've had CT scans that have shown a partially empty cell sac, which that controls your hormones. At 24, I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. I have tried multiple birth controls I think I could take. They just made my migraines worse and gave me issues, just made me feel unwell. I got my first migraine around 14 years old, and they just have gotten worse as I've gotten older, nearly to the point every second day. In the first trimester of every pregnancy, I've bled multiple times, having to go to the hospital, and every pregnancy I've birthed before 36 weeks and no one's questioned it. Even my labours follow the same pattern. With my firstborn, I laboured for 36 hours, and for the first day, my contractions were 4 minutes apart and regular, but because I wasn't acting distressed, they didn't believe me. My mum finally yelled at someone to come and look at me, and I was 8 centimetres dilated. With my second, I went into labour at 34 weeks. My waters had broken 24 hours before I gave birth to him. They told me that I must have got my dates wrong because he was a big baby and they didn't think I was 34 weeks, but I had done fertility treatment with him. We knew the exact day that I fell pregnant. With my third, I had been getting contractions every 4 or 5 minutes for nearly 2 days, and I called the hospital multiple times and they said just to wait at home a little bit longer. I wasn't due, I was only 35 weeks, and coming in for my contractions get 2-3 minutes. The pain was getting pretty bad, and I googled how do you check if you're dilated, and so I checked. I could feel his head and I was about 7 centimeters dilated. I called them back later that afternoon. I didn't tell them what I'd done because I was scared I'd get in trouble, but I started crying and they said, would you like to come in so we can check on you? And I said yes. I was in the waiting room for a couple of hours. There were other women coming in and going straight away because they were screaming. They were making a lot more noise than me. I was just sitting there quietly breathing through each contraction until the nurse at the reception started to take notice, and she started to count him along and then asked me if they were getting closer, and I was like yes. She went and got midwives. I was 10 centimeters dilated, and so he was born not long after. And with my last pregnancy, which were twins, I was in hospital for weeks before I gave birth to them because every time I stood up I would go into labour. And the day they were born, I told the nurses that I was like the pain was coming regular and fast, and I still wasn't believed. Again, it wasn't until a couple of hours later I heard a nurse say, I think she's actually in labour, she's swaying her hips. So then they came over, checked me out, told me to lay down on the bed. They called theatre, me to the elevator. By the time we got down the elevator, my head had already come out, or half come out. That was fun. Pain medication wasn't taking, so they had to tilt the table up so it would take effect. And after the babies were delivered, I could feel them cleaning up, so I was getting sensation back, which then the doctor told them to hurry up because I could feel what was going on. So now at 40, I'm asking questions that should have been asked years ago. Not to blame anyone, but because other women deserve answers before they go through this. So if this is sounding familiar, you're not imagining it, you're not broken, your body isn't failing you. It's just no one's zoomed out far enough yet to see the bigger picture.